Hello, job seekers. On to session 16 of Interview Bootcamp. I know it's been a lot of questions. We're almost there. Bear with me a little longer because these last few videos have some really important things in them that I want to make sure you know so you can do great on your interview and land that job that you deserve. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment, do that now. Give us that thumbs up on our videos if you feel like they're helpful. Give us a comment down below. Let us know if there's areas you want us to focus on for the future. So for this video, session 16, we're going to be focused on behavioral-based interview questions and how you actually can best respond to those and how to know when there is a behavioral-based interview question. So I want to take a look at a question and I'm going to show you how the question is on its own, and then we're going to talk about how it's morphed into a behavioral-based interview question. So let me share my screen. There we go. So this could be a question that you would receive during an interview. How do you deal with stress? And this is a question where you're going to want to share through, well, I deal with stress by doing the following and so on and so forth, with all the different strategies that you utilize, right? You don't ever want to say, I don't have any stress. Everybody has stress. Even good change causes stress, right? All right, but how is this different, this question, from a behavioral-based interview question? So if I wanted to make this into a more, instead of just telling me your strategies, but into that behavioral base, I would rephrase this question. And it would be something like, tell me about a time in your past position where you had to deal with stress and what you did during that situation. And I'm trying to make the difference here of the first question of just how do you deal with stress is you can just give me the strategies. With the behavioral-based interview questions, they're trying to see in a real-world situation, what behaviors and stuff did you utilize in order to address the situation or with whatever they're asking on. So let me show you another behavioral-based interview question, and we'll go through several, okay? So let's look at this one here. Can you provide examples of how you did what you said you did? Now, this is a different way to structure a behavioral-based interview question. They're trying to see the same like they are with any other behavioral-based. What are some examples where you actually are giving real-world work where here's what you said you were going to do, and here's the behaviors it did to actually do what you said you were going to do. This is a complicated one to pick, but it is an important question that you need to be able to answer. And most behavioral questions you're going to see are going to be very similar to this. A lot of them are going to start with something like this one. Tell me about a project that didn't go well, or tell me about a time when you had a project that you had to implement globally and what were some of the ways that you addressed that. It's not talking in the theoretical, tell me about this. It's wanting to see the actual behaviors. Now, here are some other ones that you definitely need to be ready and able to answer that are some of the most common behavioral-based questions that we're going to see. And before I go on to that, for this one, tell me about a project that didn't go well. You better not stop, job seekers, with just telling them about what didn't go well. You need to make sure you say, well, this project didn't go well in the beginning because da-da-da-da, and here's what I did to fix it, right? Make sure that you are always going all the way through so you are ending on a positive every time you are answering a question. Okay, so here is another one. What challenges did you face and how have you overcome them? Now, again, they're looking to see, well, I faced many challenges in my life that have been blah, blah, blah. If you're too far up here in the stratosphere, you're not answering the question and you're not meeting their needs. Bring it down to the actual behaviors and things that you did so you're sure that you're fulfilling what they're trying to get when you're doing the interview. Here's another one. What do you do when you come across something you don't know? Now, they're going to phrase this one a lot of different ways behaviorally. What do you do when you're managing a project? Or what, actually behavioral based would be more, what did you do when you were managing a project and you came across something that you didn't know? Where they're trying to pull you back in to understand how you did this in a real world situation. Here's another one that we see quite often, which is give an example of a situation that best describes your problem solving skills. Now, we don't always think of behavioral questions as having to always have that tell me about a time. This is still a question where they're trying to say, what are those behaviors that you utilize in order to go through your problem solving activities? So when you're answering a question like this, bring it down. They're trying to get to an actual real life example. All right, job seekers, behavioral-based interview questions are not as hard as actually sometimes a closed-ended question. With a closed-ended question, if they ask, have you ever implemented SAP in Angola? It's either a yes or a no, right? Now you can say no and quickly try to caveat it. Well, I didn't do in Angola, but let me tell you about the other locations I've done. But with a behavioral-based interview question, you really have an open-ended question where you get the chance to share what's best about you. Just remember, don't do it in the stratosphere. You want to go down to tactical when you're looking at behavioral-based interview questions. Give them an actual answer that's going to fulfill the judgment call that they're trying to make on your behaviors by looking at a past positive situation. Okay, job seekers, just a couple of videos left. I hope you're taking your time to prep. You are going to do awesome on these interviews. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.